Welcome into Wrestling Spotlight. I'm Gerald Bentley, and today we are joined by the hardest working man in professional wrestling, Dealz a Minute, the Deal Machine. Danny Dealz is here. You see him doing the commentary on NWA Power, now on the CW app. Danny, hey, thanks for taking some time. I know you're always busy. You're making money moves and getting things going.
Mm-hmm.
Probably you're right. You're right there with me. I'm a sales manager at a car dealership, so I'm always making deals.
Oh,
but,
boy.
Not the same volume as you do.
Oh, I don't know about that, but yeah, hang out here. I'm at the Dealz house currently. It's unusually chilly for Nashville, so I had to throw the hood ski on today. It's
Sure.
It should be warmer usually at this time of year in Nashville, but it's a little chilly. But by the weekend, it'll be warm again.
Absolutely. It was a nice brisk 35 degrees here in Kansas City yesterday, so I can definitely relate to that. But hey,
I've been there. It's flat and it gets cold. Yeah,
and then it's we're getting to the time where it's going to get really hot real soon. So we get
Kansas City, Missouri, or Kansas?
Kansas City, Missouri.
Okay, I know that's a big thing with people from there.
minutes from the state line. So yeah. Home to the National Wrestling Alliance's own Mile High Magnum, Dak Draper, relocated from Denver to KC.
Yeah, that's right, old Dak.
Yeah, Central States and Glory Pro Wrestling. But hey, Danny, we've been able to watch the NWA new season on the CW app. How are you fitting in? How are you sliding into the color commentary role?
Well, somebody's got to carry Joe Galley. You know what I mean? I'm just kidding. No, I like it. Yeah. I like it. I get to talk trash and talk about my favorite people and Joe's on the ones and twos and I just get to fire in and say whatever I feel like. Well,
sure.
Within reason.
Joe's got the play-by-play. Kyle's got the ringside interviews.
But Three Musketeers, right? They grudgingly put up with me. I know they really love me. They act like they don't, but I know they do. I'm trying to get Joe to get more colorful suits like I got. I got some back here. Well, I should have put it on, but
or the glasses.
Yeah. We got to hook him up. I got to hook him up. Maybe get him some hair extensions or something.
Get him some hair extensions. But, yeah. Well, but it would take a while for him to catch up to you.
A little bit.
Be a little bit of time. But hey, when fans are watching the NWA, because I really think people should take the time. It's super easy to find now. It's right there on the CW app on every smart TV. It's an entertaining, fast watching show. I mean, you're under an hour. The kind of wrestling that you and I watched when we were growing up. It really is kind of a throwback to some of the old NWA Georgia shows, the stuff you'd watch on Saturday night. I really like the approach, like the style. Is that what the NWA is kind of going for?
Yeah, I mean, it's not. You can't. Everybody's got to have their own flavor, right? And everybody, it's 31 flavors anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of our style is the small. We do shoot, sometimes like Dothan and stuff like that. That was a bigger building, but I like the studio wrestling too. You know what I mean? You got it's nice and intimate. It's a little bit tight in there. You get maybe 250 in there. And, it's kind of, like you said, it's under an hour, so it's an easy watch. You know what I mean? And people's attention spans, I think, are shorter than they've ever been anyway.
Very true.
And you like to get in, get out, and, hit everybody. Just keep it, the pacing of the show is important, I think. You know what I mean? With anything, even when I watch like a regular television show, the pacing of the show always helps. And if you forget, if you don't have time to look at the clock, then it's good. I like how it's short and abrupt. That's just what it. Even when I was younger, I loved in the 1980s when my teenage years started. I used to go to hardcore. I used to go to hardcore punk shows and all those You mean they'd fit 20 songs in a 15-minute frame. So I like everything kind
Yeah,
of.
and you're getting good matches. I mean, it's not like they're not aggressive, they're not hard-hitting matches.
Hmm.
I got the match from this past episode, Ruthie J and Tiffany Nevins.
Yeah.
Great women's match. It
Nieves.
would
Yeah.
Nieves. It would play anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, kind of a little bit more of a physical style, and a lot more grounded. And we still have, crazy stuff. We got that new power station set. So,
Mhm.
Colby and people like that, as soon as they saw it, are like, oh, I can jump off there, and well, hey, go do it, man. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of restrictions. I mean, do what you want, but it's sturdy enough. But yeah, I mean, I like the style of it too, and it's a little bit more meat and potatoes and storyline characters, and that's how I like I like characters. You know what I mean? Everybody can't be the same.
No, and you're building him up. A great character right now who and we do have this, we got it posted on Wrestling Spotlight on the X account. Uh, Thrillbilly Silas Mason
Oh
having a
boy.
great run with the national title. He is a character. I mean, heck, he played a character in the Iron Claw.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
could use a little help right now. His house burnt down, and
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
is
Yeah.
the Thrillbilly doing okay?
He is. I mean, I messaged him. He said he was fine. I know that a lot of people donated to the GoFundMe, and I think he's recovered. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but it's a tragedy. But I will say about the Thrillbilly's character, it's not really a character. That's kind of who he is. He's
Hmm.
actually. I feel like sometimes he's a little toned down for TV
Oh, really?
compared to what he is. He's just that's just him. You're getting what you see is what you get with him. Him. Southern Six, of course, Kerry, he's the same way off camera as he is on. And, Alex
Hmm.
is always angry as he is on television. And it's a great group. They sold a lot of shirts, nationalwrestlingalliance.com, hit the shop button. They sold a lot of shirts.
There you
It's a
go.
great shirt. I got to make them another one. I got another Pretty Empowered one coming too, because they blew out of their first two shirts. Pretty Empowered, my favorites. I don't think Kenzie Page will ever lose the title. And Ella and Kylie will, they've got their rematch for their straps pretty soon, so I'm
Hmm.
excited about that. But actually, Silas on this week's episode that just dropped, he relinquished the national title and said he was coming after EC3. He's coming for the
Going
10 pounds. He's going for the 10 pounds.
and he made a good point. EC3 showing a few cracks in the armor. The man, the Spartan, who's looks like he's etched out of stone.
Hmm.
Maybe a little tired, maybe a little worn around the edges.
Well, maybe,
Chance for
but
the Thrillbilly.
I've known I've known EC for a long time. Um, I've known him, geez, probably about 10 years or so, and he is a master strategist. He could be playing possum. Could you never know. You can't underestimate EC3. Can't underestimate. That's all I'm going to say. Can't underestimate.
He could be controlling his own narrative right now
He
and
could
setting up
be.
the Thrillbilly, huh?
I mean, you never know.
Yeah.
And he's never going to come in completely unarmed. He's always got a trick up his sleeve. EC's got to pay attention. Really can't take him lightly. I'm not saying you can't beat him. I'm just saying you can't take him lightly.
Hey, I wanted to ask you too about something that the NWA is doing, and I think is a great idea, and is again kind of a throwback to a different era of wrestling that we're kind of seeing a new golden age coming up with territories reforming.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah.
NWA stars coming to the World League of Wrestling here in Missouri. Harley Race's old territory in Eldon,
Yeah.
Missouri for
Yeah.
Night of Champions. Going to Cleveland, NWA Chicago.
Yeah.
How's that been taking off the territories and the relaunch and getting your champions going around the country?
Yeah, I think it's been good. It also gives you a chance to look at some other people too. You know what I mean? It's not like it's
Hmm.
everybody on the show is an NWA talent that you would see on the television. It's a way to find new people and just keep people working. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
reps. It's the only way that anybody's ever going to improve, or get any better. And a lot of younger people. Sometimes you can find diamonds in the rough at those shows. You never know. JCP, of course, in East Tennessee too. Old
Sure.
Joe Kazana's show, which the Deal Man is supposed to be at next month. I forgot the date. He just said, Deal, you got to be here in April. I said, all right, I'll be there.
There you go.
So, but I'll be there for that one because that's I think 2.5 hours from Nashville. So I'll be there. And I think it's good. It just keeps, you keep spreading it out a little bit, and you kind of need, you need everything for everything to work. I don't know how to put that into words. I'm usually not at a loss for words, but I'm a little bit today.
Well, I think it's kind of putting the NWA back together. I mean, the NWA used to be a
And the
group
strength of the territories,
around the country, and then each territory they could put up their guy to battle for the champion or the tag champion, and kind of spreading the wings out, which I think is great.
That's like in those old magazines. I think we're probably close in age. You can see all the territories in the back and everything. But yeah, Flair was the champ of all of them. They all had their individual territory champ. And yeah, no, I think it's cool, man. I loved it. That's what it was when I was young. You know what I mean? Was territories. And yeah, I love it. I like it. It's a different way. And all of them are going to have a different flavor too. None of them are going to be the same. So it's good for those areas too. It's good for those promotions and all the talent. It's good for everybody.
One, I think it gives all the local wrestlers something to strive for too, because I can let you know, I mean, at a Central State show, it was a big deal when Dak Draper went out, took the microphone, and talked about representing Central States in the National Wrestling Alliance. Got a big pop from the crowd, had about 1,000 people there. So it's that way to organically build up the league.
Yeah, and you can kind of find people, like I was saying, Carson Drake, they found him at Exodus Pro, Slime Balls, So I mean, like, you're going to find some people too, and say, okay, well, let's move this one up and see if they can hang.
Yeah, and then Chicago, NWA Chicago just got its kickoff in Billy Corgan's hometown.
Yeah. So yeah. It's Studio One, great building, old Studio One. We've run out of there before too. I think we did 312 there. I think we did another TV taping there. That's a nice, cozy building too. So that's cool. I mean, I'm sure the Deal Man will make his way up there at some point. What the hell? Maybe I'll just pop in all these places unannounced and just see what it is.
Just drop in and see what's going on.
I'm trying to stay hydrated.
Yeah. Follow you on Twitter. I've seen there have been a couple of road trips going.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. We did. I love the road trips. I love them more than the shows. Really, I like all the drives and all the laughs and me and Plunkett, and I've known Plunkett for, I don't know, probably 15 years. We've done many a road trip together, and him and I and Magic Jake's miserable, ass sitting there the whole time, complaining. He did make a lot of money on online gambling, I think. And then we had one of our other buddies, Kmart, with us. Yeah, I love to do the road trips. Like I said, they're more enjoyable than the show. And a lot of times sometimes I'll just ride with people, with friends. I'm just like, hey, I'm gonna come with you. All right, cool. Yeah, keep me company, keep me awake while we're driving, whatever. A lot of times I'll just go for the laughs in the road trip. Sometimes I'll go when I'm not even booked on something. I'll just go.
There you go.
Not all the time, but I spent a lot of years on the road in when I was years ago, or mid 2000s, when I was a young traveling Dealz. Working shows, managing, getting my ass kicked sometimes, stuff like that. And then, I worked on, TNA's live event crew for a long time. So I'm almost more comfortable on the road, As time goes on, I do like being, home a lot more, but I still miss the road. I do.
And just to give viewers an idea, you have a long history in professional wrestling. When did you get involved?
05, I want to say, something like that.
Okay, so almost heading on 20 years now.
Yeah, somewhere in there. Yeah. I packed up and left Cleveland and moved to the South to break into the business, which was actually a good idea too, because at the time, really till about 2011 or somewhere in there, you could work basically 5 or 6 days a week. I mean, with not even driving further than 2 hours.
Hmm.
I mean, you're probably going to make a combined $20, but
Well,
you got a lot of reps in. You could work a lot, and I'm glad that I moved to the South to train. It was a little bit of a culture shock when I moved, but um, I'm glad that I went to the South to train, and then and broke in there. You know what I mean? And I still have probably, I have a lot of, lifelong friends from all those days too. And it's a
sure.
lot of miles, a lot of goofy stuff, a lot of stuff that I'm not. If I told you, it wouldn't be funny now. But a lot of good times. You know what I mean? And yeah, I'm glad I did that too. And I got in to be a manager, but I got trained in the ring also, just because thought everybody, I thought everybody should pay a physical price and a financial price to get into business, and respect to your peers, and it also helps with a lot of other things. And if you're going to get any kind of heat as a manager, you're going to end up in matches anyway, so you might as well know what you're doing, or
Sure.
at least attempt to know what you're doing. So
Gonna take
had a
gonna
lot of
take a
good
few hits.
times, a lot of good times on the independents. I worked for TNA for about 10 years. I worked in events. I worked in merchandise. I worked in their online. I worked in production. I did ring. I was one of the guys that I was the assistant to JB and Jimmy and them when they did the delete stuff. I got to do a lot of cool stuff there. And, convention circuit. Of course, I had Demon Bunny, demonxbunny.com with Rosemary and Alley, which is still active. We're not as active with our YouTube show and stuff like that, but did a lot of that, did some Air Lucha, did some this, did some that, NWA, of course, worked behind the scenes and in front of the camera there, all kinds of, that's like the cliff notes. There's way more, but yeah,
Sure.
now that I think about it, yeah, a lot of craziness, and a
Well,
lot of,
and
miles and a lot of laughs and a lot of beers.
sure. Now, hey, what would you say to wrestling fans watching this?
Uh-huh.
Why should they tune in? And it's a great time. You can catch up on all the past seasons too. Why should they tune in and start watching the NWA?
Well, it's a different flavor. You know what I mean? Like I said, I mean, it's not the same as everybody else is doing. It's just it's a different variety. Uh, you know, expand your palate a little bit. But like you said, I mean, the show's a good time frame. It's not super long. We ain't gonna bore you. We're on to the next. There's a lot of people on there that are kind of up and coming in the business, and maybe you've heard. We've got an extremely young roster. We do have some veterans, but we have a ton of kids.
Hmm.
And so there's a lot of fresh faces, and a lot of promo heavy, character heavy. It's just a different style. And of course, I'm there, and yeah, and like you said, it's easily accessible on the CW app. And even when the episodes drop, I mean, you can watch them at 9 in the morning if you ain't doing nothing.
Yep.
I've turned it on a few times here at the Deal's house while I'm doing stuff, just to watch it back and either like my performance or hate it. Sometimes I hear it and I just go, "Oh shit, what is?" That was
Sure.
terrible. You know what I mean? And other times I love it, but yeah, no, I mean it's it's a different style. If you don't like it, okay, that's cool too. But easily accessible, and like I said, a lot of new fresh faces to a lot of people. There's some people that when they come in the door, I don't know who they are. And so I'm getting to know them too, just like anybody else. On television, and so. Uh, I've got a really good women's division, I think.
Hmm.
Kenzie Page, of course, being the best, right? Pretty empowered.
Holding the
No
belt.
no favoritism here, but but yeah, we got a strong women's division. We got good tag teams. It's a different variety, and you get to hear me.
Well, there's a good reason right there. And and there's new shows. New shows drop every Tuesday on the
Yeah.
app,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yep. 9
you're
a.m. And
seeing.
there's a few past seasons on there, and I
Mhm.
think more will be added as goes on. You know what I mean? And it's a newer app, so it's kind of we're feeding them. I think 15, 16, 17. Well, there's at least
Yeah,
2 full seasons up. There might be
15,
more. I don't
16,
know.
and 17 on
Yeah,
there
yeah.
right now. Yeah.
Hmm.
And then another show coming, a little behind the scenes kind of reality show coming to the CW.
Yeah. I've seen no screeners or nothing. I mean, I remember when there, sometimes there, I remember when people would be around. So, maybe you'll see the deal man on it. I could just remember talking
Yeah.
to somebody and it was really bright all of a sudden. I would turn and they would be there and I'd be like, okay. But I was so busy, especially at that for a lot of it too. Some of it, I was coming off the bench and filling in a commentary, like if Tim had a match or something like
Hmm.
at 75 or something like that. But a lot of it too, that's when I was stage managing too. I think I was still managing people in the ring too. So I was all over the place. So I don't know what they shot or when they shot. I just know they were there. I was always too busy to really pay attention. I do think I did talk to them a couple times, but it's just a
Okay.
blur. It's just a blur.
Sure.
That could end up on
Understand
the
that.
cutting room floor for all I know. But yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I mean, I don't know when that's coming out. I mean, it's probably in an email somewhere. But yeah, that should be cool too. Just to see. I'm curious to see it too because, like I said,
see
I
what's
don't know
there.
what the hell they shot or when they shot. So yeah,
Well,
it
they
should be good.
shoot a lot of video to put together a half-hour television show.
Oh my
So, or
God.
an
Well,
hour,
yeah. I
yeah.
mean, as you understand too, and that I remember when I was in broadcasting school years ago, and we would go, intern and get on shoots, and people would be surprised how much you shoot for
Sure.
like a commercial that's a minute, and you're there for 8-10 hours, and they edit it for
Hmm.
however long, and And I know some things have changed how you shoot stuff. You don't have to shoot everything from every possible angle 15 times and all that, but it's still like, yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. So they probably were with us for, I don't know, maybe it was a year because I think
Really.
they went on, they had the Australian tour where the Pumpkins were playing, and some of our boys and girls went over there and wrestled on those shows and stuff like that. So I think they went on that, or they probably did the summer tour that was here in America at least.
Sure.
So they were probably on one of those. I don't know if they were in Mexico for the World's of Vampire or not, but they definitely caught a lot of stuff. I mean, they shot a ton of stuff.
Well, hey, let's go ahead and we'll take you down to the championship round. I got some of my own deals here. Got the
Ooh,
Wrestling
buddy.
with Sales Championship belt for you. So we'll go ahead and there you go. There it is.
Yeah.
Just a
Yeah.
few quick questions. Who's your favorite NWA champion of all time?
Oh, you mean like not Lightning One, just forever?
Any time in the NWA era, Lightning One, the WTBS era,
Oh
even
boy.
before that.
I don't know. Could Gino Hernandez count when World Class was attached?
Sure.
Um, maybe Gino. I don't know. As a kid, I liked Flair. I liked Blanchard. I liked a lot of the villains. Um, so probably, yeah. I mean, probably the Four Horsemen or maybe Gino Hernandez. I'm going to put over Gino Hernandez because I feel like he's forgotten and lost to history.
He is.
And
There was some.
he was man. He would have been a star had he
Yeah,
lived and probably gone on to WWF. He would have been a huge star, and yeah, definitely,
that's a good
and
one.
currently, I would have to say all of Pretty Empowered.
Sure. I saw that coming. But yeah, World Class Championship Wrestling was great when they were rolling. Heck, even uh, like growing up in Cleveland, I could watch World Class Championship Wrestling on, let's see, it was on WUAB. I believe it was
Yeah,
late Sunday
Channel
afternoon.
43, Channel
Channel
43.
43, yeah.
Yeah, right after
Yeah.
Superhost.
Lots of Cleveland ties here in the NWA.
Yeah, right after Superhost.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, it's definitely lost the time, a lot of that world class stuff. And they broke a lot of barriers. And actually one of the guys when I was working production at TNA was Keith Mitchell, and he was the guy at
Okay.
world class at the time. And every once in a while you hang out afterwards and he would tell you stories about it. But they're the reason that there were cameramen on the ring
Hmm.
apron and all that kind of stuff. I mean, they broke a lot of even musical entrance, Michael Hayes Freebirds at world class. So yeah, I mean, it
Yep.
was good stuff. Um, it was definitely good stuff. Yeah, we caught some of it. We got a little bit of everything in Cleveland because it was nobody's territory, right?
Yeah.
So as cable was starting, you were getting different stuff on cable, and then you still get weird syndicate. Remember, we got Mid South for like
Yep.
a couple months, right?
Had
And just out of nowhere,
ECW,
you know.
ECW late night Saturdays.
Yeah. I found it. Yeah, I saw it. That was the first time I saw it. I came home from the bar and was
Yep.
drinking a 40, and I was
Yeah.
channel surfing on the old Adelphia cable or whatever it was,
Uh-huh.
ran across it. I was like, what the hell is this?
1 a.m. on Saturday mornings, prime time.
Yeah, prime time.
ECW.
Yeah, great ad selling time right there, right?
Yeah.
But we used to get a little bit of everything. So I think that's why my taste in wrestling was always so all over the place, because it wasn't like one thing. It wasn't AWA territory, or it wasn't just WWF in the Northeast. Like, we got a little bit of everything. So
got a
I
mixture.
think that's why I had kind of favorites everywhere. I loved Bockwinkel and Heenan in the AWA. I loved Gino and World Class, and down in, I even like the Georgia show that would come on UAB, I think, actually, which replaced World Class for a little bit. And or no, that was TBS.
Yeah.
And
Saturday night,
right. Yeah, because McMahon came in.
Georgia.
Yeah, because McMahon came in and bought it and all that. But yeah, even that stuff, man. I love, Bob Roop and all them. It was
Sure, great stuff.
Yeah, great stuff. Yeah, and that's kind of, we're not really doing a throwback style to that, but it's kind of almost like a modernized version of that kind of studio wrestling. Anything can, kind of wild and yeah.
Yeah,
that was a long-winded answer to one question.
Yeah, I don't mean to say the NWA is like a retro act. What you're doing is you're taking a retro atmosphere and mixing in today's pro wrestling.
Remix.
So it's a great balance. Yeah, absolutely.
Remix.
How about here, a layup for you? Your favorite wrestling movie of all time?
And I don't know, maybe
Thrill Billy's watching.
Oh, well, the Iron Claw, of course.
The Iron Claw, sure.
I haven't seen it yet. I kind of like Body Slam. Remember that from the 80s with Piper and the Tonga Kid and doing that's kind of a goofy one, But I get, but of course the Iron Claw. I got you, Thrilly.
Sure. And then finally, going and covering WrestleMania weekend for Wrestling Spotlight, did you imagine that there would be over 20 pro wrestling shows in a city at one time? I mean, you could literally go to 12 hours of wrestling from Thursday through Monday that weekend. Wrestling is really on a new peak. It really is a new golden era, I think. How do you feel?
Yeah, no, I believe it. I won't be there this year, but I have done many a WrestleCon, which is the big con that surrounds, WrestleMania weekend. And, I've done it over the years as myself as a vendor, or for TNA or for Global Force or whoever. And, it's like, 90% of the business is there. And there's shows everywhere at all times. I remember the one year in Orlando, there'd be shows at like 10 a.m., down the street in Orlando or whatever. And stuff's everywhere. It's cool. It's a cool week. I think the last one I did was Dallas. I was going to go up this year, but I didn't. Maybe next year. Maybe I'll bring a NWA stable with me or something.
There you go.
Yeah, no, it's a good time. And I think a lot of that too is really, a lot of it opens up once, OTTs come into play, and just, streaming, podcasts, everything. It's just so much easier to, there's so many options, which is a good thing, thing. You see people, fight online sometimes over stuff, and it's like, hey man, there was a time where there was nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So just enjoy all the different flavors. There was one, and and that's, those were the years that I was at TNA, where there was like them, and then there was us, and that was like
Ring of Honor, and that was it.
Yeah, but they were like, no diss to them, they had some of the best talent, but it was like a DVD company. There wasn't enough room on television at that time for three. You know what I mean? So it was, it was tough.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah, different ball game today. Totally different era.
Yeah, as even as a part-time. So it's it's wide open. And I think it's great, and I hope it stays that way. There's peaks and valleys, but really since about 17 or 18, it's kind of been it just keeps
steady climb.
Yeah. So it's good. Yeah, no, I mean, anybody goes there for Mania weekend, even if you're going to Mania, there's tons of other stuff happening. Yeah, I remember working the one in Manhattan a few years ago, Demon Bunny. We had a table and like everything was happening down there. And it was class reunion. You see all your friends that work different places, and there was so much going on. I think that was when Ring of Honor ran MSG, right, with New Japan or whatever it was, and
sold it out.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it was wild. I even worked a an ad lib comedy show at some random place. I forget what it was called, but yeah, there's so much going on those weekends. You know, it's a really good time, and yeah, a lot of connections to be made, a lot of friends to see. There's money to be made, and yeah, it's definitely you'll have a good time for sure. You'll have a good time. You should also check out WrestleCade. Have you ever done a WrestleCade? That's the Deal Man's favorite convention.
One. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the weekend following Thanksgiving. I don't care that I have a voicemail from a bot call. It's the weekend after Thanksgiving, Winston-Salem. It's the Deal Man's favorite.
There you go.
It's a great time. You should check it out. But yeah, you'll have definitely a good time in Philly for sure.
Yeah.
Too bad I'm not going to be there this time.
No, definitely looking forward to it. Get together, find out a little bit more about our shared Cleveland history, along with.
You a West Sider or East Sider?
Lived in both.
Yeah, me too, but more east than west.
Grew up on the near west side of Cleveland, lived in Lakewood, lived in Cleveland Heights.
Yeah, I lived in Cleveland Heights too.
Yeah, there you go.
On Penfield, and then me and Abyss discovered later that we lived on the same street. He grew up there, Abyss. He grew up on Penfield, Cleveland Heights. But so yeah.
You, me, Travis Kelce.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Get him out of here. But yeah, no, good times. Good, definitely good times. Yeah. You ever go to punk shows at the Fantasy on 117th in Detroit? That was in Lakewood, wasn't it?
That is in Lakewood, yeah.
Yeah. And it's not there anymore. I love that building.
It's been it's over 20 years since I've been there.
Oh, me too. Me too.
Saw Trent Reznor do a live performance of his album back when I worked for WMMS 100.7, the Flamethrower.
Oh, the Buzzard.
Yeah.
The Buzzard. Yeah.
A long time ago.
Jennifer Wilde and all that.
Worked with Jen Wilde. Yeah.
Yeah. Trent Reznor he was in Cleveland for a while. He never admitted it, but once 9 Inch Nails, he used to play like almost every weekend. Remember?
Yep.
And then they went like that, and then yeah. Good times in Cleveland for sure. A lot of good. I mean, well, I don't miss it, but yeah, it's been about 20 years since I've been there too. Yeah, I left a long time ago. I have been back up here and there mostly for shows, but Sal Wynn was in Cleveland, of course, at the old where the Cleveland Orchestra used to be on Euclid, right there, Euclid and 20th, right down the street from the Agora.
Yeah.
I would like to go back there for that. I mean, it's my decision, but I would like to go back. I think we should go to that building every year around that time. That's just me.
Great city for wrestling.
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe I'll creep up to an Exodus Pro show one of these times. They run over there in north end of Collinwood, Waterloo, I think is where it is, right? Yeah, so
the tree line.
Yeah, that wasn't there when I was there, was it?
No.
I'm assuming it wasn't there. You were. Yeah,
no,
wasn't nothing over there on that street but the Rose Garden.
No.
Yeah, the Rose Garden bar was the only thing that was over there when I was living there. So, but yeah, good stuff. Yeah, maybe we'll.
Got to take a trip back to Cleveland. Well, and with that, we'll go ahead and wrap it up here on Wrestling Spotlight and the Fired Up Network. Talking to Danny Dealz, the Deal Machine. You can see him doing the commentary on NWA Power on the CW app. So everybody watching Wrestling Spotlight Fired Up Network, take the time, pop in on the CW app, catch up a little bit with another native Clevelander, your World Heavyweight Champion, EC3, and we'll see if he can hold on against the challenge of the Thrill Billy. Lots of exciting programming coming up on the NWA. Danny, thanks a lot for taking the time to step in here to the ring on Wrestling Spotlight. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks, man.